I remember a time of peace, of cherry blossoms and summer winds. Another life no longer meant for me. Bushido called in the shape of a blade. The last of its kind. The only thing that stands between the mire and oblivion. Send your armies. I will be waiting for anything and anyone.
All right, welcome back to another the online experience video. In this one, we are checking out For Honor. So For Honor, I have some history with this, slight bit of history with this. So one of the first games I ever streamed was actually For Honor from the Xbox One back in the day. This game has been out for a while. So the Xbox One version came out about 8 years ago. They are on their 8th year, 2nd season. As you can see, they've added battle passes in, and there's a ton of customization and everything else. With this battle pass right here, as you can see, you can get a whole bunch of extra things on it. So the online experience is, of course, monetization. That is one of the first things that you're going to be noticing a lot of between events, battle passes, and everything else. This is it's a live game service type of environment with this one. So of course there is a ton of monetization. Now with that, there is a big elephant in the room on For Honor because it is such an old title. There is no current gen version, so there is no PS5 or Xbox Series X or S version. There is only a last gen version. That's it's unfortunate that this game hasn't had a big update because there is still player bases around it. I'm pretty sure there's tournaments around this game, whether they are official or not I don't know, but I have seen a few tournaments here and there. So with 8 years and 2 seasons, you have a ton of characters in this that you can actually you can earn in-game currency by playing the game, and you can actually grab anything pretty much in this game except for there is specific packs. So think Rainbow Six Siege. It's a very similar vibe as this. So this game also came out right around the same time that Rainbow Six Siege was a thing. And one of the things that you'll notice with all these characters and such is there is a whole bunch of different not exactly countries, but I guess you could say factions and different types of warriors represented. So you have Vikings to samurais to gladiators and everything in between, which I think that is super cool. There's nothing really out there like For Honor in that aspect. So there is again a whole storefront that you can also pick up different skins and different ways of customizing all these characters, including something like an Ezio pack, which I think is really cool. But that price tag, though, $15 for the Ezio skin. Now, here's the thing, though. When I saw this at first, I was like, $15 for one pack? Now, Rainbow Six Siege also has kind of something similar going with that, too, where, everybody keeps making the statement that Ubisoft is monetizing like crazy on everything. They're not doing anything different than any other company out there. And the fact that, yes, there is, a packs like this that are costing real world cash. It's the same thing as any other company out there. Now, the difference with Ubisoft, though, that people tend to overlook is that a lot of the stuff that you're seeing in the storefront, you can actually purchase in game just by playing it. You got to play it a lot. You only get 300 something silver pieces, in-game currency, non-premium in-game currency on there. But the fact that you can do stuff online or in story mode or in arcade mode and all that, and actually gets your different customization options unlocked, that is super cool. That's not something that a lot of companies will do. So going into just like the offerings of For Honor, for those that don't know, because the game is a little bit older, maybe you haven't you looked at it and you're like, microtransactions, no way, I'm not checking this out. All right, so there is multiple different story modes. I do believe this was the arcade mode, but then there is a whole a whole separate story mode with like 3 chapters in it with the 3 original factions that were in the game. So we have kind of the medieval knights and the samurais and the Vikings. As you can see, there is like screen tearing happening in this and all that. I record this off the console, off the PS5 version of this, or PS4 version, I should say, of this. So maybe the PC might look a little bit better when it comes to the screen tearing and all that, because you can probably use different methods of doing all, getting rid of the screen tearing and all that. But again, storytelling wise with this, it feels very similar to like Rainbow Six Siege, except for Rainbow Six Siege only had the what is it, comic book cutscenes, I guess we can call them, where this one actually has like full-on animated cutscenes. So it's a bit different. Again, the 2 games came out roughly around the same time frame, if I remember right. It was like 8 years ago, so it's hard for me to remember exactly when both of the games came out. I feel like I played them at the same time. I might be a little off on that, but again, so online experience wise with this is an always online title, of course, because of all the microtransactions, and every single game mode is pretty much always online. There's always something for this game to be connected to the internet to stat track, basically. And really, I would say even if you could play this offline, you kind of just want to play it online because of the fact of the silver and all that stuff and everything that you're unlocking it on the servers and whatnot. So as you can see here, it is not like a Dark Souls game or anything. You'll notice there is a training mode here too, where you can actually go in. This has a bit of a different combat system than anything else out there. The combat system on this is actually, so it's made to simulate a sword fight, but then you have full control. It's almost like Skate, the way you have full control of your feet on the skateboard. It's a very similar aspect to For Honor, which I always thought it was kind of cool the way that they got this. So you have your different stances that you flip on the fly. And again, each one of these characters has the different weapon types and everything. So that's the reason why I was showing the character screen one more time there, is because of the fact that, if you're a fan of a samurai, if you're a fan of, gladiators and all that stuff, there is another character. You explore characters, because maybe you don't like the tank as much as you thought. Go over to a smaller character and you can actually get away with like moving around a little bit more. And that's one of the big things. This thing is set up like a fighting game through and through. So this right here, there is multiple modes to it, and of course, this one is the kind of like siege on the towers, but it's no. The breach one, I couldn't find any players in. That's right too. So this is domination. This is like Call of Duty domination. You got 3 flags on the map. You're trying to take over the map and dominate your opponents and everything. Now, you'll notice, if you notice, there is like a shield icon that keeps popping up. What they're trying to do is spam out a certain move in the game, and it's been years and years that people have been trying to do this. It's actually one of the reasons why I quit the game all these years, because I just got sick of people just kind of spamming the same thing over and over again. Plus, also, I started playing Street Fighter and Soul Calibers and this and that. So I just kind of fell off from this. But just recently coming back to this again, wondering, hey, there was, again, the Assassin's Creed crossover. Plus, I was just wondering what state this game's at. So when I jumped in, it was definitely, the combat system didn't take too long to get back into. Again, when they are spamming that stuff with the little shield icon on there, so there's a certain combo that you can do, and it'll try and power up your character. The problem is, if you know what to look for, which I just remembered it from the beta and everything, I have a level 1 character, and I'm counteracting the spammy moves that they're trying to use here, which is very fighting game wise too. Again, if you've played fighting games for any amount of time, you know what to kind of look for, of like, okay, somebody's going to use this and this and this. So again, one of the cool things, similar to how fighting games are set up now, this has always had in it a large amount of customization. This is like Ubisoft levels of customization through it. You can, as you can see right here, you can customize everything from the weapons to your armor sets, and then there is even down to, like I said, your blades and your the handles and such. Now there is stats connected to the weapons, but it's not terribly, transforming of the weapons, I would say. Like it doesn't really feel like, they're kind of like perk stats instead of, like hardcore damage stats and everything. So you can kind of just have the look that you want on the weapons. But the really cool thing also is, if when you go into the menu on the weapons, you can actually change the look. It does take the silver and such. As you know, like I said, though, you get silver every single match, so you can upgrade the weapon if you really like that specific weapon and the stats that are on it and everything. You can change the look of it, and then you can have literally the most customized character that you could possibly ask for in there. Again, there is character packs, but then there is also like basically loot boxes. This did come out during the time of all the loot boxes and everything, to where that's where you're going to end up finding the hilts and the blades and the daggers and such. Also, you can customize the character itself with a whole bunch of different, it's not really stickers. I was going to say stickers, but it kind of is stickers. But there's also really cool embossing on there, whatever you want to say. So like there's a wolf head that I would like to unlock someday, where you can just have like a giant embossed whatever wolf around your shoulder, or you can put it on pretty much any part of your character that you want. You can do full color customizations. You can do full outfit changes and such. There's a ton of stuff to unlock. And there's a ton of stuff that you can customize. So it's actually like fairly decent on the customization on this. And again, you have the hero skins. So there you can see down at the bottom, it says 31,250 silver, which means you can actually buy the Ezio skin or any other skin for any characters by just playing the game. You have to play it a lot. Again, it's 31,000. You get like 300 some odd, silver per match, and then you can there is challenges that you can do per day and such that you can get a little extra boost on top of that. But it's interesting that this, there was an era at one point where we could actually just, instead of spending $20 on one package deal like we have with Tekken and Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat now. And you can also see here, you can purchase the steel if you really want to, or you can complete orders or complete matches. Any which way you want to get the steel, you can. Steel, silver, whatever it's called on here. So then you can also do reputations. So if basically it's just a leveling system per character, so you can actually upgrade to get more unlocks, more cool looks. And again, the character packs are, there's like loot box packages. As I just kind of flashed on the screen there, but basically you just go in there and you're spending the steel to get 6 items. Not much to see there. So now we're going to get into the combats. Let's see here. We went over arcade mode, training modes. We went over story mode. The game is always online. Okay, so yes, you can. So this is all cross mode leveling, whatever you want to say. It's so every single leveling that you do of a character, it goes across every single mode. So if you want to play a little bit of story mode, upgrade a character some, you can do that. If you want to come into 1v1 fights, I think this is probably the most fun mode. I'm a big fighting game fan, so going in here 1v1 against somebody and figuring out their strategy that they're doing and then tearing them down. Because they keep trying to spam like that. I think the 1v1 mode is definitely something kind of different than a lot of other games out there. Like Soul Calibur doesn't even quite have, this mode will get your adrenaline rushing. The other modes, I tend to like kind of not care for just because it just, I don't know, it just feels like you're kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again, and this one really gets you thinking with the 1v1 mode, because you are versus that person. You're trying to figure out their attack patterns and everything. So again, but I will give the credit to story mode. It gives the characters a reason for being in the world. And then also you can go into a training mode, like I said, and figure out all everybody's movesets too. And they have a thing called hero tactics. So every character has kind of a gimmick to it. Of course, very similar to like Rainbow Six Siege, where they have their like certain gadgets and everything. There is a thing called Faction Wars on here too, where you get like a little extra XP if the faction that you're a part of. So you can select whether you want to be part of like the Knights, it's like a raven symbol. It's the Jeez, the Vikings, and then the samurai is like it's kind of like a lily pad or something. So let's see here. There was a big battles mode, but I couldn't get that to work. This is the 1v1 thing. Oh, if you back out of the matches too, you have a 15-minute timer that kicks on where you can't do anything for 15 minutes. So yes, so the combat in this, again, very similar to like regular fighting games, like 1v1 traditional 2D style fighting games. Character matchup knowledge and character knowledge itself, this game is just a knowledge check, as we like to say in fighting games. Basically, you really need to know your animation, and there's always, like, you know, as you can tell, there is a meta character that a lot of people are using. I really hate to use the word meta because, in all honesty, it's just like, okay, there's one character that is got a lot of reach to it that everybody loves to use, and yeah, it's. If you know what you're doing, though, again, with footsies, timing, also you could kind of think of it like Dark Souls also, because Dark Souls is in a lot of ways like a fighting game too. But yeah, if you like a certain weapon, and let's see here, yeah, I already went over that. Salvage can be acquired from gameplay, I already went over that. I have notes, I'm going through everything. Yeah, so as you can see on the screen, not everybody's using the same character over and over and over again. So, but there is a lot of, like, you can tell there's probably a few YouTube videos out there being like, use this character to get easy wins, and you know, the clickbait videos. The reason why I always hate those types of videos, especially for fighting games like this, or anything like a Street Fighter or anything, because then you start to see the same character over and over and over again, and so you don't have a lot of, like, the back and forth of different characters. But yes, there is, like, the one character with a long-reaching poison, but as you can see, it's, you know, if you know how to do spacing the right way, we call it footsies in the fighting game community. So footsies mixed with reading your opponent of, like, okay, they're going to start their attack on the left side, they're going to start their attack on the right side, whatever. And as soon as you break that, then you can end up getting an opening to actually go in there. So right there, you can see I just wasn't I wasn't calling the person out as much. Oh, I should go into matchmaking and everything too. So matchmaking was going very quickly when it could find players. The game is a little bit older. As you can see, there's not too much in the way of lag on there, so the netcode was running pretty solidly. Let's see here. Yeah, so overall, just a ton of very cool customization that you can do with different characters. Again, you're going to find, you know, it is a fighting game essentially. So you are going to find a lot of people that are just going to be kind of spamming the same attacks. But as soon as you break through that, and one thing too with the matchmaking, with people spamming attacks like this, to end this video out, the matchmaking was doing a triple thing. So I did not set any settings. It was automatically looking for, like, the best possible matchup to match my stats. Then after, if it couldn't find anybody that actually matched my stats, and going in as a level 1 with no stats at all, it was, you know, trying to find that. I actually was finding a few matches in 1v1 fairly relatively easily. It only took maybe like a minute and a half to 2 minutes at the most. And then yeah, it was pushing out to, you know, farther regions and everything else. But yeah, so For Honor, it's there. It's on multiple platforms. Pretty much everything that can run a thing except for Switch. You might even have a copy of it already because they've given it away so many times over again. But For Honor, it was fun going back and checking it out. And yeah, the last thing I got to say is thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you next time.